everyone. I gotta say, I actually did not anticipate this. This was my mistake. You're not supposed to see me this early. Usually I make a few more additions. Just make sure I have everything ready before you see me. But it looks like I messed that up. You can already see me on the screen, so yeah, let me just write this stuff down and get my other bits and bats ready for the stream. But yeah, how have you guys all been? It's great to see you again. Apologies for the later stream. I did let everyone know on Discord, but I didn't let anyone know on YouTube because I was just very busy. But basically, I've been so busy today. In fact, let me bring up my Discord. I wrote down and I told all of you exactly what I was doing. But I will say, first of all, I'm waiting for a few more people to enter the stream, but trust me, we're going to really want to talk about these Superman numbers because, guys, if you want to be a DC fan, you've always been annoyed at how Marvel have always been like getting a lot better box office results. Well, then this is something that we're actually going to be. You're going to be very happy. Basically, let's just put it that way. I'm actually going to go compare the box office of this and what Superman has done in its second week. I'm going to compare that to what Marvel have done in their entire box office runs in their last few projects. So you're definitely going to want to stay listening for that because, trust me, it is really, really fascinating, some of the stuff that's gone on here. Now, before we do, let me just position this correctly. There we go. So let's just gotta trim this a little bit. There we go. There we are. Alright then, so let me go over to my Discord and take a look at exactly what I've told you guys I've been up to, because I've been doing a lot here. Is my audio too quiet? Here, let me bring it closer. Oops-a-daisy, what's happened? It's not going in the red, which is bizarre. Let's see if I can fix that. Give me a second, everyone. Let me try to fix this right here. Is that better? Is that? No, it's still not in the red. Where is the audio? Come on, there's got to be an audio output setting here. Because I've kept the settings at exactly what I've always kept them at. It makes no sense why it will be so low. I Hate Anime says you can hear me fine. That's because I'm bringing my mouth right close to the microphone. Maybe that's why. Is it better now, or am I still too quiet? Sounds better. Okay then. Maybe that's what it was. I just had the microphone too further away, so maybe this will sound better then in that case. Alright then, if you guys all hear me, that's good. Okay guys, hold on a second. I'm going to turn my monitor off and then I'll turn it back on because it's really playing up for some reason and I don't know why. Was the footage fine? Because my monitor just went off for a second there. I hope everything's all good. Glitching. Well, hopefully that's because my monitor was glitching. Hopefully it'll be fine now. I can see the monitor here. Let me look at the video here. Yep, seems to be working. And then I'll turn it back on. Yep, my audio seems to be fine too, from what I can tell here. Yes, Goats, I did see the memes you put on Discord. I did, yeah. That was funny, but I am still so busy, so that's why I've been chatting with you guys less, but I've still been aware. I've been looking at everything that you guys have been posting on Discord. Anime put this live stream on Discord, which is great. Now, let me see. Here it is. Okay, so this is what I was basically up to today, which is why I was so incredibly busy. And like I said, we're just waiting a few more minutes to let more people on the stream, and then we can talk about what Superman's box office did, and we can compare it to what Marvel's box office has been for their last few movies. And trust me, this is a comparison you're really going to be interested in, because this is really fascinating. So, what did I do today? Today I recorded my trailer reaction for Mortal Kombat 2, which will end up on my Patreon. I haven't uploaded it on Patreon yet, but it will end up on Patreon and for YouTube members. I edited some of my Daredevil Born Again reaction to the final episode, which I'm hoping that can go up in the next day or two. And I've also edited more of my voiceover for this three-way Superman versus video with James Gunn Superman, Man of Steel, and Christopher Reeve Superman. And what I've also done is I've worked on the How to Train Your Dragon versus video today too, and I've been doing some more editing with that. How to Train Your Dragon versus the How to Train Your Dragon remake, you know, the animated versus live action. So if you like my Disney live action versus videos, well, now we've got DreamWorks in there. So yeah, I've done that. And I also, let's see. And I wanted to basically get some more of that done before I did this live stream. That's why this live stream has happened a lot later than normal. Pop culture fan, I can't remember which comment that was on my Electric State video that you're talking about. Josiah is not funny. I was going to do the Thunderbolts versus video, but I don't think I should do it now because Superman is the big thing right now, so I've got a couple of versus videos planned for that. We've got Fantastic Four coming up, so I've got that planned. I've also got the How to Train Your Dragon versus video coming up. So Thunderbolts, I think, is kind of the time has come and gone, which I'm sad to say, because I did write that versus video, pretty much all of it. Like 75 to 80% of that script is done. So I'm sad I didn't get to finish that. When is the How to Train Your Dragon video coming out? I don't know. Hopefully this week. Either this week, or maybe the Superman one will come out this week. I don't know. Oh, hi, Rohan. I've been good. How about yourself? Connor is here as well. That's great to see Connor again. Joshman, Rohan, Big Bash, Batman235, Goat, S Little, Harshly Critical, Fireboy. I Hate Anime is here. Charleston is here. Goat. JWK237. Lucas is here. Lucas, I don't think I'll be doing a three-way versus video on Fantastic Four. I'm probably going to do Rise of the Silver Surfer versus Fantastic Four. That's what I think I'll be doing. So yeah, Deadwolf Production. Oh, he's here as well. Hi, bud. Miles is here. Oh, so great to see all of you. Also, we had a new addition to our Discord family as well. We had Ian pop in. Let me see. What does he call himself on Discord? Oh, King of the Monsters 2021. He popped into the Discord, so he's part of the Discord family now too. I Hate Anime says he's able to join more live streams recently. That's good. I'm glad, bud. Whenever I can get as much of you guys here as possible, it's always really happy for me. So I'm very, very glad about that. So yeah, I'm so happy that you guys are here. We're going to be talking about Superman soon. Joshman says, did I go to see Superman again? Yes, I did. So stay tuned for the versus video. You'll see if what I think of it. So, for those of you that are not aware, I'm just going to tell you right now, I do have a Discord, and you guys can all join that Discord if you so choose. And let's show you right here. And on that Discord is where we basically chat about things about all movies, TV shows, video games, everything basically, even new trailers and everything. For some reason it's not... Oh, there we go. So here is my Discord. There is Goat's meme that he did. And you can basically go to any of these subjects that we have here. Movies, TV shows, games, latest movies, Marvel, DC. There's a lot to talk about here. Huh, this is interesting. It says that James Gunn will see a cut of Supergirl next week. Superman is a different movie than Supergirl. Supergirl is a way more rock and roll film. It's a little bit rougher in certain ways. She's a tougher character. She's not Superman at all. And so it's not the same. I wonder what else he says there. But basically, you see, this is what we have on the Discord. We all chat movies. We all chat about everything that goes on. We all chat about everything that goes on in this whole space of movies, TV shows, games, and everything. Ooh, Kevin Feige saw James Gunn's Superman and said, I liked it a lot. It was great, and that is what I want people to remember. Interesting. Apparently, he also said to James Gunn that he wanted him to do Bizarro. Although, I hope James Gunn does not take any tips from Kevin Feige. But basically, guys, this is where you can go, and we can all chat movies, TV shows, and everything, and you'll have direct contact with me here. And we can also, you can see animes in the Relax and Chill chat. We can also do voice chats as well, which we have already done for Jurassic World. We've also done it for not only Jurassic World, but for the new Superman movie we did it for. And this upcoming week, we're going to do it for Fantastic Four First Steps. We're going to go to the movie lobby, and we're going to chat about the latest Fantastic Four film. And we're going to talk about that live, so you can all chat with me about that. So, yeah. Let's see. Trevor says, and yeah, Matt Reeves' The Batman is miles better. Oh, okay, so that means he's seen it. Movie King says, hey Eric, are you planning on doing a Mortal Kombat True trailer discussion once you drop your trailer on Patreon? We'll see. Right now I have to get videos out. The only discussion I've got planned next is going to be Fantastic Four First Steps. But when Mortal Kombat the movie comes out, then yeah, we can all watch it and all talk about it. For sure. Alright then, so, who's ready to talk about the box office for Superman? And it's going to be very, very interesting. Like, seriously, there is a lot of interesting numbers going on around here, so let's go and take a look right now. So, now I'm going to show you actually this. This is what we had last week. You can see here, the domestic total was 122 million for Superman, and the international box office was 95 million, which was quite low, surprisingly. I'm genuinely surprised that's all it got. Not even 100 million at the international box office, which is everywhere but America. And worldwide, it made $217 million on a budget of $225 million. Now, I said Iron Warrior has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Iron Warrior. He says, Lilo and Stitch, live action, or Snow White, and why? I would say Snow White is better, because there were a couple of things I liked about Snow White. The Whistle While You Work song was good. I actually thought Rachel Zegler was pretty decent as Snow White, although there were problems. But with Lilo and Stitch, it feels like there was nothing good in that. Even Stitch was giving me a headache at points. So there's a couple things I mentioned that were good, but it's not enough to save it. If I had to sit through one of those again, I would rather sit through Snow White. Alright, so going back to this, thanks for the super chat there, bud. So going back to this, the budget for Superman was $225 million, and the Batman managed to get, on its opening weekend, $134 million at the domestic box office. And bear in mind, this is when COVID was still going around. Because, I don't know if you remember, but Matt Reeves, he actually got COVID when they were promoting this movie. So he was there for a bunch of interviews at the beginning, but then by the time the movie, I think, hit Japan, Japan or China, he couldn't attend the premiere in that country because he had COVID. So COVID was still a very big contributing factor at the time, and the Batman still managed to make more money than Superman at the domestic box office. And Superman doesn't have to worry about COVID. So the fact that Batman still got more butts in the seats during the COVID time is very impressive. And I also did Marvel comparisons right here. Let's see, we got another super chat from Electrify, and he says... Oh, no, this is Electrify doing a super chat now. It says, sorry for being late, working on my other script. Don't worry about that, buddy. It's, I've been working on my script and editing today, too, so it's totally fine. Alright, so, the reason I put the Marvel figures right here is because on its opening weekend, in comparison to Batman and Superman's, Superman's $122 million opening weekend and Batman's $134 million, domestic only. This is the domestic box office for these Marvel movies, these last few Marvel movies that hit theaters. Captain America 4 has an $88.8 million domestic opening, which was not good. Thunderbolts had $74.3 million, which is even less. And the Marvels did so bad, I thought, you know what? I'm not even going to bother putting the domestic there. I thought just to go a little bit easier on it, a little bit. This is this total box office draw, which is $206.1 million. Although this is from the numbers. If you go to Box Office Mojo, I think it was Box Office Mojo, they actually say that this movie managed to make even less at the box office, like 199 million or something, so not even 200 million. So yeah, that's really, really bad from on the Marvel's point. And as you can see, worldwide, Superman made more money than the Marvels did in its entire box office run in theaters. So the Marvels was really bad. So now, this is week 1. Now I'm going to show you week 2. And rather than show you just the week 2 numbers, I'm going to tally them up and add them on top of the week 1 numbers. So, domestic box office, in total now, Superman has gone from 122 million to 235 million at the domestic box office. So, it's made over $100 million at the box office this week. And then we have the international box office. Now, if you remember, the international box office was $95 million before. Now is $172 million. So that's gone up significantly. And worldwide, that brings it to $407 million. That is a very good result for the second weekend. And I'll tell you exactly why. And again, that's the budget right there. Now, the reason I'm going to tell you that this is actually a really, really good job. Now, this is not the same good job that other superhero movies have done back in the day, but for today, this is a very good result. Because now, I'm going to show you the Marvel numbers, but the difference here is I'm showing you their entire box office run. So last week I showed you just their domestic run. Now I'm showing you their total box office run. So you can see here that worldwide, Superman in its second week has made $407 million, whereas Captain America 4 in its entire box office run only made $415 million. In its entire box office run. So that's when it was in the cinema for weeks. This is all it was able to make. Superman, on its second week, has already practically reached it. So, give it till tomorrow. I bet your Superman will already surpass that once you see the updated numbers tomorrow. Thunderbolts, in its entire box office run, made $382 million. But again, Superman, just in its second week, completely surpassed that. And then we have the Marvels. And the Marvels made $206 million worldwide. But again, Superman has made, you could pretty much say, double that. At $407 million. And not only that, but if you look at the Marvels, it's only made $206 million worldwide, hasn't it? Whereas Superman has made $235 million domestically. So in America alone, just the domestic numbers, not the international numbers, Superman made more money in its second weekend domestically than the Marvels did in its entire box office run worldwide. So the Marvels is really the big underlier here. I don't think you can get as bad as the Marvels. Like, seriously, this is embarrassing. And the Marvels cost way more than Superman did. It cost like $275 million. Something crazy like that. So, yeah, that is very good results for Superman. It really is. So if you were a DC fan and you wanted DC to get one over Marvel, they have in the past, like the Batman and Joker did well, the first one. And Aquaman did very well, so there have been very good examples. But if you want like a clear-cut example for now, to look no further than Superman. And it's, some people are saying now, people are trying to say, if Superman doesn't do very well, what does that mean? Does that mean that superhero fatigue has settled in? And I don't think superhero fatigue is a factor. I think what it is that Marvel are making a lot of these superhero movies with superheroes no one cares about. No one cares about the Marvels. No one cares about Thunderbolts. And I'm sad to say it, but it's true. No one cares about Sam Wilson as Captain America. They did not build him up well in his show. No one talks about that show anymore, even people that liked that Falcon the Winter Soldier show. But because they didn't build him up well, he didn't work as a Captain America, and the truth has been reflected in these box office numbers. So it's got nothing to do with superhero fatigue, which many people try to say, see, a superhero fatigue, that's why they're not making good money. No, the reason they're not making good money is because these are superheroes that no one cares about. And they're not good movies either. Thunderbolts people like better, but it's still not to the level that it needs to be. You know, like, for people to want to go to see it in theaters of all places. But Superman is a movie that people do want to see in theaters, and he is a superhero that people care about. So it shows you that superhero movies can make money at the box office, but they gotta be superheroes that people care to see. And now that James Gunn is rebooting the DC universe, and he's doing his own DCU, it means that this is going to be a good, like, fresh start to where people will say, okay, let's see what else they've got. Let's see what else they've got going. So, yeah, I think... Now, Fantastic Four First Steps is coming out this upcoming week. I don't think anyone cares about that, really. Because, like I said, if you went around to ask anyone, are they going to watch Superman, everyone said yes. But if you go to ask people who are going to watch Fantastic Four First Steps, no one was anticipating it. Some hardcore fans would be, but the normies, your general average audience, your average moviegoers, they don't care, really, about, Fantastic Four First Steps. So I think that Superman is not in trouble. It'll probably go down to number 2 on its box office, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up going back to number 1 over Fantastic Four in Fantastic Four's second week. Because I bet you that Fantastic Four First Steps is going to plummet on its second week, like lots of Marvel projects have been. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think that Superman has done a wonderful job right here. It could be better. I'm not saying it's amazing, but this shows that it's got legs, and I think that it will get to I think definitely it'll get to 600 million. But the question is, will it get to 700 million? And I think it can get to 700 million, but that's if Fantastic Four, like many of Marvel's recent movies, takes a huge nosedive on its second week. Then I think it can get to 700 million. If not, then Fantastic Four could potentially take a bite out of its sales. Now, some of you are saying that... No, it's not some of you. One is George Washington trolling, I think. I'm going to ignore that right now because we're talking about something serious. Some people are saying that, well, you're going to want to watch it because apparently Doctor Doom is going to be in a mid-credit scene of Fantastic Four. But the thing is, we don't need to go to see a movie in theaters just to see a credit scene. They end up on YouTube, like, very early. So you can just watch that on YouTube or TikTok. You don't have to go to the theater to see a credit scene. That should not be selling you the movie. The movie should be selling you the movie. And Fantastic Four First Steps just does not really seem that interesting, I think, to where people are going to want to go see it. We'll see what... Now, the early reviews seem to say good things, but I never trust early reactions. I've been burned by them many times. But I think that a credit scene's not going to drive people into the theater. Not many people. The movie has to speak for itself. And Marvel have had a reputation lately where the movies are all about just setting up the next thing. And I don't think people appreciate that anymore. But yeah, Superman is something which I think... Superman is definitely a special movie. I think it's a movie that has gotten a lot of hype. Because theater movies don't really get hype these days. You know, that's why you don't feel like you have to go rush out and see it. But I think everyone did feel like they had to rush out and see Superman. And on his second week, there's a lot of people I was speaking to, even in my Discord, who said that they hadn't seen the movie yet. They're going to watch it on the second week. So clearly a lot of people were holding out to watch it on the second week. And now they have, and you can see the money is coming in. So if you wanted to see a universe that was actually doing well, I think this second weekend at the box office is actually really good. And you can see they've already surpassed their budget. So I think they need to still make like 550, 600 to break even, like something like that. So we'll have to still see them make more. But I think they'll definitely do a good job. Far better than, I think, say, Fantastic Four or anything like that. So yeah, I think that they've got nothing to worry about. I think they're pretty much in good standing. Goat says, if the reviews were negative, would you trust them? I'd give some more credence to them, because on early reviews, when it comes to good movies, they can still be bad. Like, The Flash got so many positive reviews. The Marvels kept getting positive reviews, and they kept saying, how many times have you heard the early screeners say, this is the best movie since Endgame? They say that about the Marvels, and then when the Marvels, people come out not liking it, then they move on to, like, Captain America Brave New World, and they say, no, this is the best movie since Endgame. And it's like, but hold on, didn't you just say the Marvels was the best movie since Endgame? Have you changed your mind already? they keep doing that, and then they do the same thing with Thunderbolts and all that. So you can never trust these early reviewers or these early viewers. However, you can trust if they say that the movie is. Oh, thank you very much, Iron Warrior. I'll read that in a second. But if they say that a bad movie is good, then I think if they actually think a movie is bad, then that means it must be really bad. If these early reviewers are giving it bad reviews, because I think they just like the idea that they get to watch a movie early. That's why they give them positive reviews, because they're just very happy they got to see a movie early and they got to see it first. But if they give it bad reviews, that means you know it's really bad. I mean, I remember Joker 2. There were some weird people where you could tell that's like they wanted to say it was bad, but they just couldn't. And they said it's bold, or it's going to question a lot of people or challenge people, which, if you read between the lines, basically means the movie is crap. And that's exactly what it ended up being. So, oh, hi Anthony, I'm doing good. How about yourself? So I really don't trust early reviewers, and I would highly recommend you guys don't trust them. Just wait for the reviewers that you trust to review the movies, and see what they say. See what they say first, and then you can go and make your own decisions. Or, if you trust the reviewers that the reviewers who review these movies, if you trust them, follow their opinions, or you can just say, you know what, I want to go see it for myself. I personally follow some reviewers who I'm like, oh, if they don't like it, probably that means I won't either. But then I still, whether it's on streaming or whatever, I always try to find out for myself. But sometimes I just don't even bother. I'm like, with Marvel, I'm like, alright, if they don't like it, I won't, because they're making the same stuff now. So yeah. Big Bash says, I trust your opinions on movies, Eric. Oh, that means a lot. Buddy, thanks for that. Stride says, Stride the Spider. I enjoyed Superman. It was my first DC film in theaters. Oh, and the movie for me was super fun. The action was awesome. Oh, well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. That's really good. My first DC movie in theaters, which I didn't even realize was my first DC movie in theaters, was Batman Begins. And that was a terrible experience because our cinema shut down while we were mid-watching the movie, amongst other things happening. But that's another story for another time. Alright, so Iron Warrior, who did another $2 super chat, let's answer your question, bud, says, Superman domestically topped the charts on weekdays. Yeah, it has. It's very, very good. Oh, Crazy Cat Lady says, still haven't seen Superman, sadly. Well, that means that people like yourself who have not seen it will be able to contribute to the third weekend at the box office for the movie. So yeah, it looks good for Superman, basically. If that's what you're wondering, it looks good for Superman, and it does not look good for Marvel if you can tally it up to their previous movies. But if anyone says to you that, hey, superhero fatigue is the reason people don't watch these movies, point to Superman. It's proving otherwise. Superhero fatigue is not the problem. The problem is that they're making too many superhero movies. They're with characters people don't care about, and they're also not of good quality. This movie is of a much better quality, I think, than the other Marvel movies. Or should I say these Marvel movies? Joshman says, Eric, I was asking you, how was your second viewing on Superman than the first viewing, and did you get more out of it the second time? And how's your score gone? And has your score gone up? I'll be going to see it in theaters. I want to say wait for my versus video. I don't want to tell too much, but I will say watch it in theaters. That's what I'll tell you right now. If you want to know if my score has gone up and everything, you're going to have to wait for the versus video. But even with my current score, I would highly advise you watch this movie for yourself and see what you think, because even though I have issues with it, and I do still have certain issues, I feel like some people, that's the weird thing with this movie, some people have that same issue, others do not. Some people see that issue, but they still think the movie was so much fun. So Joshman, I would highly recommend you go watch it for yourself, because this is one of those movies where it really depends on the person. And as you can see, a lot of people clearly do love it, so I think it might potentially win you over. I was speaking to a couple people on Discord as well who have since seen the movie, and they really enjoyed it. Sarah actually saw it. She was on the Discord and she was talking about it. She liked it. She didn't mind some of the issues that I had in my review. She thought it was very well paced. She didn't feel like it was rushed. She hasn't seen a Superman thing before this either, and also she she found Lex Luthor to be a really great villain, and she liked everything about him. So I would say give it a watch and see what you think, bud. Saeed, no, my parents haven't watched it yet. They want to watch it on the second biggest screen in our theater because the X Plus screen is more expensive. But not only that, it's also much louder, and it can be unpleasant for certain people. And my parents, I don't think they want to hear a theater that's that loud, so they want to go to the second biggest screen where it's just right for them. But the thing is, right now, Jurassic World Rebirth is on there, so my parents saw that instead, and they did not like it. They did not care for it. So they says when Fantastic Four First Steps comes out, maybe Superman will then go on the second biggest screen, and they'll watch it then. So that's what they're going to watch. So yeah, when Fantastic Four First Steps comes out, they don't care to see that in theaters. They're going to go to see Superman in theaters. So again, that tells you a lot about the third week. That tells you a lot about Superman's third weekend at the box office. A lot more people are still looking to go see it that haven't seen it, and they'll be watching it over Fantastic Four First Steps when it comes out. In fact, I wouldn't mind going to see Superman again on the big screen because there, like I said, there are really good stuff in it. I really do enjoy. And we've got 51 people here who are watching, so that is great. Please give the stream a thumbs up so more people could be aware of it. But yeah, basically, people are... There's a lot to enjoy with this Superman movie, and I really do like David Corenswet as Superman. And the vibe and the tone of the movie is just so joyous. So yeah, I do feel like watching it again on the biggest screen before it gets taken off, and before and before Fantastic Four First Steps goes into that screen. So yeah, Goat says sometimes I lower a score of a movie I like because so many people hate it. I feel like my opinion is wrong and I lower the score. No, your opinion is not wrong. Your opinion is your opinion. And the same with me. My opinion is my opinion. But that doesn't mean that you feel like you should compromise on it. Be true to your own opinion. If anything, I feel like it's kind of harder when you're on YouTube and you do that, because what you're feeling is what I have felt sometimes. When I was younger, I thought, you know what, should I give a movie a higher score just so I get less blowback? I got that vibe with Spider-Man Homecoming when I did my Spider-Man Homecoming versus video. I was thinking, should I give it a higher score just so people don't get as angry with me? But then I didn't, and I ended up giving it the score I gave it, and I did get a lot of blowback. But the thing is, you gotta be honest about your opinions on these things. You can't let other people influence them. Movies, at the end of the day, are entertainment, so enjoy them as such. If you like a certain movie more than other people, even if other people don't like it, then go ahead and like it. I gave The Flash, you guys remember, I gave it I think it was a low 8 out of 10. And a big reason for it is because I enjoyed the movie fine as some popcorn entertainment, but I did like what happened at the end with the Flash speaking to his mother. That just hits an emotional chord with me, personally. And I had someone who went on my Superman review saying that he gives The Flash an 8 out of 10 that has a criminal in it, but then he gives Superman a 6. This tells me what kind of person he is. That person actually said that, and I deleted the comment, but ultimately, that is the kind of stuff that I can't stand, and so I get where you're coming from when you say that. But just be true to your own opinions. You don't have to care about what anyone else thinks. But anyway, yeah. Billy's here. Thanks for joining the stream, Billy. JWK says, I just didn't like how Luthor was defeated. Yeah, I did not like what they did with Lex Luthor either, so you're not alone on that. I think they really messed around with Lex Luthor, and I don't like the way they did that. So yeah, I do agree with you. What were the worst comments you had to deal with, Eric? That's probably a separate conversation. I don't think we'll have that right now, and I gotta really think about them. But yeah, I remember back in the day with the Ghostbusters 2016 when I was talking against that, how some people were calling me names and all that. So yeah. Yeah, Trevor, you and me are both on the same boat in that regard. Big Bash said he hated the humor. Yeah, the humor was not great in Superman. That's still a problem, a sticking point I have. But I will say, on my second viewing, the humor in this movie was not as bad as I thought it was the first time round. It wasn't as in your face. That's what I mean when I say it's not as bad. It wasn't as in your face. But it's still not good humor. There was only about 5% of the humor that I thought really worked. The rest of it was just typical James Gunn humor, which I wasn't really a fan of. But yeah, this universe is off to a very good start. You can look at the box office numbers compared to that in a second weekend. compared to the box office numbers here worldwide on these recent Marvel movies. And DC, with Superman, has just blown them out of the water. The same with Matt Reeves' Batman when he released that. So the box office numbers really do speak for themselves right here. And I don't know what's going to happen with Fantastic Four First Steps. We'll have to wait and see. I don't even know what's going to happen with Superman's third weekend, but like I said, I bet you on his fourth weekend, when Fantastic Four is on his second weekend, it will have a huge second weekend drop, and Superman, I think, will go above it again. So yeah. Goat says, thanks for the pep talk, Eric. Yeah, no problem, buddy. Crazy Cat Lady says, I saw Sinners, finally. It was good. My review will be tomorrow. Okay, cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Joshua says, Eric, I really do trust your opinions, and you are very on point about Disney, and it helps me a lot more. It helps me be a lot more wiser when it comes to approaching Disney as a whole. Yeah, Disney they've really been messing around over the last few years, and they need to go back, they need to have a return to form, and they need to go back to what they used to do and what they did best. Mr. Terrific was great in the movie. Yeah, he was very good in the film. I get my movie news from you, Eric, says Big Bash. Okay, I appreciate it. That's nice. Well, now we're all on the Discord, so we're all sharing movie news with each other. I even talked about Dredd being done by the Judge Dredd movie being done by Taika Waititi. AIS is here. Thank you for joining the stream. Okay, now this is what we talked about with Superman. Now I'm going to talk about James Gunn did an interview recently, quite a few interviews, where he talked about what he's got coming up. So that's what I want to talk about now. So I've got my notes here, and I'll just go through them with you and tell you exactly what James Gunn is doing. So I haven't got any visuals here, which I'm sorry to say, but I just didn't have the time to put them up, so you're going to have to just listen to me explain them. Big Bash says, I think a Star Wars category would be awesome to add in the Discord. Yeah, it probably will. Or maybe a Lucasfilm section. Or maybe I should just call it Star Wars. Yeah, we'll just call it Star Wars. Well, I'll think about it, but thanks for the suggestion, bud. So, yeah. Now, let me get my notes up, and we can talk about what James Gunn said is going to be the future of DC. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Alright, so, James Gunn was asked... Let me bring a picture of James Gunn in here at the very least. Electrify has done a $2 super chat and says, are you looking forward to seeing Supergirl? Yes, I am looking forward to seeing Supergirl. I have no idea what the movie's about, but I do like the idea that we're getting more DC projects, and I hope James Gunn's got a good sense of quality control. That's what I'm really hoping, that he's got a very good sense of quality control. Alright then, so I've got James Gunn right here, which you're going to see... Oh, you can see live. I keep forgetting because I'm doing it live, these alterations this time. So yeah, we got an image of James Gunn right here. We're going to talk about the projects that he basically just confirmed recently and says... And he gave updates on where their progress is. So I think that's very interesting to talk about that right now. So, here we go. Alright, so Wonder Woman. He was asked about Wonder Woman. And he goes, that is deep in development. He says they're writing the script. They've found the tone of what the movie's going to be. And they've discovered the take that they're going to be doing, and it's a very different take to the previous Wonder Woman movies in the DCEU. So that's great. And we also know David Zaslav has been telling them to fast track a Wonder Woman movie. So that's why they're all trying to do that. They're trying to get that going. They asked about The Authority, and he goes, that's not going well. He says it's hard to crack, and the writer is now working on another unannounced DC film. So The Authority is not going to be happening anytime soon, but I don't think anyone really cares, to be honest with you. But what we are curious about is what is that other movie that they're working on. But apparently it's going well, according to James Gunn. He won't tell us. Batman the Brave and the Bold, it's being written, is what he has said. So The Brave and the Bold is being written. Looks like it's still happening. The Lanterns show, he says that's going well. I think they've finished shooting it, I think. I could be wrong, but I think they have finished shooting it. Also, he said he didn't say this, but I'm saying it. It's rated R, is what I've heard. It's going to be a very mature show. And Nathan Fillion recently did say that he dropped so many f bombs on that show. So that's proof it's going to be a rated R show, that Lanterns show. It'd be interesting to see some R-rated stuff that the Green Lantern rings could do. Wouldn't that be fun to see what they can do with an R rating? So, yeah, very fascinating. And then he said about the Clayface movie that it's a straight up horror movie, and it's a body horror movie. We already know that it's rated R, and the fun thing about the Clayface movie is that he said that it's almost like a Blumhouse horror movie. Like it's basically just completely different, and that's cool. Now I don't know if this is true, but I did hear recently that the Clayface movie was originally supposed to be a spin-off in the Matt Reeves universe, but then James Gunn put it into his universe. So that's fascinating. In the DCU, maybe more stuff could be done with Clayface in the DCU. But I am kind of wishing that we also got to see what it would have been like in Matt Reeves' universe, but because it's more grounded, how much could they have really done? So I think that it's really cool that it's in the DCU. I feel like they can go more supernatural with it, make it like The Fly or something. That would be a lot of fun. And in the end, he could look like the actual Clayface. And I watched an interview today where Mike Flanagan, who's the writer for the Clayface movie, actually said he's basing it off of I think it was the Feet of Clay episode in Batman the Animated Series. And he's basing it off of that, essentially, which is really cool. I'm happy to hear about that. And then he's talked about Swamp Thing. They said, so what's going on with Swamp Thing? And he says James Mangold has not delivered a script. And based on what James Gunn said, it sounded like James Mangold was busy with other stuff. So yeah, he's not delivered a script yet, because I think he's also working on a Star Wars movie. And then there was the Sergeant Rock movie where Daniel Craig was supposed to play it, and that was cancelled. I don't think they thought there was no point in making a movie like that, so they took it off the board. However, James Gunn seemed very adamant, like he was very certain it's gonna come back after it was cancelled. And they said, is Luca Guadagnino gonna still be the director? But he says no, so he's not involved anymore, which honestly I think I'm pretty happy with, to be perfectly honest with you. And now this is the most interesting thing. He was asked in an interview, so what director would you want to bring in to the DCU? And then James Gunn said, Matt Reeves. And he says that Matt Reeves is not in the DCU, and he wants him to be in the DCU. So that's interesting. I was like, okay, so this whole time James Gunn was saying that no, Matt Reeves' Batman is not going to be in the DCU, but now it sounds like he really wants him in the DCU. So this makes me think that he has spoken to Matt Reeves, and he did try to get Robert Pattinson into the DCU, but Matt Reeves clearly doesn't want it. He wants that to be separate. And James Gunn, to his credit, he did say that he likes these directors like Matt Reeves, Greta Gerwig, and Ryan Coogler, who take risks with their filmmaking and are able to make movies that are much more... They're not safe like what you get with most Hollywood films. They take a lot more risks. And that's what he likes about Matt Reeves. That's what James Gunn really likes about Matt Reeves. And he's allowing him to do that, which I do really like. But at the same time, James Gunn wants these scripts he wants writers that are not too slow. And Matt Reeves is a very slow writer. So I don't think that James Gunn is going to want to hire someone who's as slow as Matt Reeves, especially when it comes to having Batman in his universe. James Gunn's going to want more, like, writers to be more proactive with Batman. And he doesn't want them to keep Batman at bay for so long. And if he has Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, that's exactly what's going to happen. So I think it's fine if they keep him off to the side, whereas usually I was like, we gotta have one Batman. But I think it's fine if they keep Robert Pattinson off to the side and let Matt Reeves have his own corner, and they built their own Batman, because it's not the best solution, but I think that it is better than bringing in Matt Reeves, because I do think Matt Reeves' Batman and his world is just too good for this DCU. It really is. Clearly they want to go more supernatural, and they want movies to be more... As good as they are, they want them to be more generic as well. And they even talk about that, like James Gunn says that Matt Reeves is making movies that are better and they're not just disposable. They're more risk-taking type movies. He didn't say better, but he says they're more risk-taking types. And he likes that about those kinds of movies, as opposed to stuff that is more just disposable, and he goes that he likes disposable, so he wants to try to have people make good disposable stuff. But Matt Reeves is making something that's much more heavy, and he's allowing that, which I do like. But James Gunn is also talking about how he wants different tones in the DCU, and I love that because I've complained. You guys know me. I've long complained about the MCU and how their tones do not really differ. As long as you guys have known me, I've always criticized them about that, especially how their humor always feels like the same kind of humor. But I like the idea that James Gunn is going to allow for different tones in the DCU. That is very much needed, so I'm very, very pleased to see that that is what he's doing. Jess says, I haven't seen you in a week. Who are you saying that to? Oh, to me. Yeah, all of you haven't seen me for a week. That's how it usually is with these streams. But I'm glad to see you again, Jess. Like I said, if you guys want to see me like every other day, just go to Discord. Follow me on my Discord, and you'll see me every single day. We can say good morning. We've got Big Bash greets us good morning every single day. Everyone on the Discord. So if you want to see me every day, go onto the Discord and you'll be part of the Discord family. There's about 11 or 12 of us right now. Or was it 13? I can't remember. So be sure to join the Discord if you want to chat with me every single day. You can there. And we all can stay up to date with the latest movie, TV show, and video game news. And we can also have audio chats and video calls at some point too. So definitely head on over to my Discord if you want to, be part of the community. We've got a big community there. It's growing quite quickly too. So definitely head on over there. Okay. So yeah, that's basically what James Gunn has said. That's the only information he's given so far. And it's a lot of information. And I'm really curious to see exactly what he does. Now, Jonah White has done a £2.24 Streamlabs chat, which I really appreciate. So thank you very much for that, Jonah. And he says, did you or do you have a celebrity crush? Also, have you watched Rebel Ridge to prepare for Lanterns? Rebel Ridge. I've not seen Rebel Ridge yet, but I know that the actor that plays Jon Stewart is in it. So at some point I will, but I've got other stuff to see first. And I've also got some Patreon commissions that I've got to do as well, so I need to see those too. And in regards to celebrity crush, I've had a couple. The one I've told you guys about before on this stream was Elizabeth Olsen. I remember she I thought was attractive. But yeah, I don't like to be too open about that kind of stuff because I embarrass easily. And yeah, so I'm saying that one because I've already said it. I don't want to say too much more. So, and also, in case family does watch this, that's kind of like saying the most embarrassing things for them to hear. So I want to keep that a bit on the down low. But I've given you one, so that's one that I'll say. Goat says that his first was Zendaya. Zendaya to me always looked like a little kid. Like she's got, do you know they say certain people just always it's like they stop aging at a certain age and they look younger than they are. She's one of them. Tom Holland is another one, which is funny that they're both going out and they both have that kind of look. But it's like they stop aging at a point and they forever look like they're like still like teenagers or something, kind of like that. That's what it seems like. Billy says, how different do you think the tones will be for Wonder Woman, considering the two previous ones are polar opposites in tone? I don't know, but I hope they don't make it comedic. I hope the Wonder Woman tone is dignified too. So they've got a Superman tone here, they're going to have a Batman tone, whatever that may be, and they'll have a Wonder Woman tone. But like I said, I hope James Gunn does not lean into the comedy with every one of these characters. So yeah, that's basically the update and the down low on James Gunn and what he's up to right now in the DCU. So basically, I think now we'll get to the Q&A. Is there anything you guys want to ask me? Ask me any questions you want, and I can answer them. Well, I hear that Hui Toonmore wants me to increase the volume. It's on its max volume. I don't know. It's not going into the red whatsoever. I am confused. I am really confused by that, so I don't know what's going on. But yeah, you guys ask me your questions, and I'll answer them, and I'll also try to fix the audio. Is it better? Is it better or is it the same? Oh, that got weird. Echo. Is the echo here or is it gone? What? It's gone. Okay, that's good. Edits while he streams. Oh. Nah, I'd prefer not to because I use movie footage when I edit and I don't want any potential copyright claims happening, so I think it's best I don't, to be perfectly honest with you. But that is a good idea. I have thought about it, actually. That's not the first time. I've actually thought about it plenty of times. Saeed says his crush was Aquafina. I think you're just joking about that. I don't know how anyone can have a crush on Aquafina when she talks in that way. That sounds cruel, doesn't it? But she puts on like that, what people call the black scent, where she tries to sound black. It's just sounds like everything she's saying is a joke that no one finds funny. Time Shadow says, Eric, you know full well that I am obligated to ask you this. Did you see the Stranger Things 5 trailer or poster? I've not actually. In fact, I did a trailer reaction to Mortal Kombat 2 earlier. Then I got straight to editing other stuff, so I've still not even seen the Stranger Things trailer. So I'll try to see it and see if I can do a trailer reaction. But I'm just super busy. That's the tricky part to it. You were joking, Saeed. Okay, I thought so. Eric, what did you think of Jurassic World Rebirth? I did not like it. I thought it was nothing special. I gave it like a... I think I gave it a 4 out of 10, which I think is quite generous in some regards. But yeah, 4 out of 10, below average. Very disposable, and it's the most PG of all these Jurassic World movies. Like, that surprised me, that did. Electrify has donated another $2. Thank you very much, buddy. Says, have you ever written a screenplay before? No, I've never written a screenplay. I've written some stories before when I was a kid and stuff, but no, I've never written a screenplay. Okay. So are there any other questions you guys have that you want to ask me? Billy says, I don't remember hearing your opinion on the new Superman's parents. What did you think of their new portrayal? I did not like the parents at all, especially his mother. His mother had such a thick country accent where I was like, is James Gunn trying to do a joke here? Because you couldn't take his mother seriously. It felt like everything she was saying was so exaggerated with her country accent, like they were trying to get a laugh out of you. And she also, when the first scene she was in, she's talking over a phone that's on a table on speaker, a smartphone that's on a table, flat on a table on speaker with her talking to Clark and the father in the room. And she's like, "Hi, Clark. Congratulations on the da-da-da-da-da." I don't want to tell you guys what she's congratulating him on if you haven't seen the movie. But it's like, are they trying to do a joke here? They're making her seem too daft. Like she's too dumb. And the Kents, they're supposed to be the parents that you wish you had. They're meant to be very warm. And I think the best version that represented that was in Smallville, with Annette O'Toole and John Schneider playing Clark's parents. And you're supposed to look at Clark's parents and think, okay, they are the ones that raised Superman. And you get that. You get that in Smallville, and you get that in the other versions too, to a certain extent. But you don't get that in this one. I'm like, these guys are too daft. How did he end up becoming smart at all with them as his parents? So yeah, that was just not good. Electrify's done another $2 super chat and says, I hope the spiders were worth it, Mom. Ooh. Is that a joke that I'm missing out on? Because I'm not quite... Oh, Billy, you meant his Kryptonian parents. Did you say Kryptonian parents when you asked me that question? Let me take a look. Oh, you didn't. So yeah, you have to... That's my excuse then. I'm not completely daft. I don't want to give any spoilers because some people have still not seen it. I didn't mind it. Smallville dabbled in that thing. There's a twist in there. Smallville dabbled with it, and it was actually kind of cool. So I didn't mind it. I was okay with it. But I wish they spent more time on it, because it felt like it was just over very quick. I feel like Bruce Wayne having to deal with a certain element was actually done in a way that was actually cooler than the way they did it in Superman. So, yeah. Batman, you say that... Batman 235, you say that his biological... You're talking about biological, you mean his adopted parents. I'm talking about his adopted parents, their accents. I know they're meant to be country accents, but it was just too strong. It's like, the accent would be alright if what she was saying, there was wisdom behind it. But there was no wisdom behind it. And even so, they shouldn't have made them have accents that strong. They should have just done what the other movies have done. Just give them generic accents. But the country accents, the very strong country accents, it was too distracting. I couldn't even really pay attention to what they were saying. So on my second viewing of Superman, I was actually able to listen to them more because of that. Let's see. Hui, I don't have any thoughts on Denis Villeneuve directing James Bond. He's kind of like a Christopher Nolan that the studio can control, because Nolan always asks for full creative control, but here, he's, you know, I don't think they want to give Christopher Nolan full creative control, and Denis Villeneuve, he doesn't get full creative control, but I think he's okay with that, unlike Christopher Nolan. Big Bash says, have I ever played Detroit Becoming Human? No, I've got it over there in my collection, but I never got around to playing it, sadly. Oh, Saeed, take care. Thanks for dropping by, bud. Time Shadow says, there's some potentially brilliant news for the next Spider-Man film. I've sent it to you over on Instagram. Okay, I'll take a look. Although, this is where I always say, if anyone can join the Discord, it's actually much easier to get that information. Because I get a lot of people sending me stuff on Instagram. Okay. What Time Shadow has sent me is about this potentially brilliant news. Is Kevin Feige answered a question recently. He says Spider-Man Brand New Day is a street-level story. Him being by himself, dedicated to saving the city and dealing with, for lack of better terms, street-level crime, as opposed to world-ending events. But that's not what the leaks seem to say. The leaks seem to say that there's going to be Punisher in there, there's going to be a Savage Hulk in there. Does that sound like street-level events to you? It really sounds like he's just saying that because it just sounds good to say, but ultimately I think it's just going to be... Unless he's basically got big stakes from like a Hulk, but there's barely much action in it, in which case that's what makes it street level. I really don't know. Punisher is a street level character. Yeah, he's a street level character. But what I really meant was the fact that there's going to be the Hulk in it. That's and there's also apparently going to be Dr. Negative in it as well. Time Shadow, you still need good writing. Just because you bring the stakes down or the spectacle you bring it down doesn't mean you have a great movie. It means you still need good writing, and we know Marvel don't have that. Robin says, have you seen Absolute Killer Croc and Poison Ivy? Makes me terrified of what they'll do with Scarecrow. I've not seen it. What, is it bad what they're doing? Worst actor for you in your opinion? The worst actor for me? I don't know. I'll just say Awkwafina. No, what am I saying? But Gal Gadot. She's an absolutely awful actress in the last few things I've seen her in. Are you excited for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey? I want to see more about it, because I've seen the teaser like 3 times now with different movies I've seen. Once when I saw Jurassic World Reborn, and twice when I saw Superman. I've seen that trailer 3 times. I'm just done with it. I'm not even going to react to it, I don't think. Unless, of course, the patrons really want me to, then I will react to it. But I'm not impressed with the trailer, because it doesn't look like any of the shots in there are something that only Christopher Nolan would do. the cinematography and the shots, they look like stuff I've seen from other biblical epics, or even non-biblical epics, just epics. I've seen these shots before, so I'm not really impressed by what Christopher Nolan has done so far from what I've seen. If you didn't tell me it was Christopher Nolan, I'd believe you. So the whole point of Christopher Nolan's movies is that you really feel like, oh, only Christopher Nolan could have done that. But so far, what we've seen, it's stuff you could expect anyone to do, really. I've not seen Ben Shapiro's review. I try not to pay any attention to it. Goat says you should call us patriots instead of patrons. Nah, I'll call you guys patrons. Goat says, will you miss the MCU? The MCU is not going anywhere, so ask me that question if they're going to be going anywhere. Khan says, what are your thoughts about Beyond the Spider-Verse being delayed? It's only delayed a couple of weeks, isn't it? Like 2-3 weeks or something? That's nothing too bad with that. What's an actor you used to like but not anymore, said the G Gamer. What was his name? He actually played Gerard Butler. He's one of them. Yeah, he's said some things where, if you remember that movie London Has Fallen, I've said that's one of the worst movies ever, and I put it on a list because it was actually a very bad movie, and he makes a certain speech at the end which I was like, wow, that sounds like the kind of propaganda speech that he's doing where they're trying to be very patriotic and pro-America, even though it was really quite ridiculous. I was like, that is such a silly thing to say given information that has come to light. So yeah, I was not a fan of what he said there. And in real life he seems to be that kind of person. And also Gal Gadot, there was nothing wrong with her originally until you found out what kind of person she was. So yeah, I can't stand Gal Gadot now either. So yeah. And Ezra Miller, I actually started to like him when he was in Zack Snyder's Justice League after being in Joss Whedon's. And then look what happened to him. Ryan Reynolds is another... Oh, Goat said as well. Ryan Reynolds is another one. It's for him. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is another one for me as well. Hugh Jackman as well. You know, he had... it's out there. He had an affair with his wife, didn't he? And it's... When you find out what went on and everything, it's not good. And yeah, he's really lost, you know... I used to think he was a good guy, and he's lost respect in my eyes too. So yeah, there's a lot of things, I think. So yeah, a lot of actors. But yeah, there's a reason you're not supposed to really look up to actors. They're just people, aren't they? They can be scummy like people and everything in between. So yeah. Dwayne Johnson, yeah, he's very fake as well, isn't he? Blizzard said, Eric, what's the best Smallville episode? There's too many good ones to say what's the best, but Memoria is one of the best ones. I think that was in season 3. If you've been watching the show up till that point, Memoria is a big tearjerker of an episode. So many things come together with regards to parenting and the history of Clark and Lex Luthor. Time Shadow says, apparently Avengers Secret Wars is going to reboot the MCU. I've already said it was going to, because the Russo brothers said that that's with Infinity War and Endgame, they were tasked to end the MCU, and with Doomsday and Secret Wars, they're tasked to begin it, to give it a new beginning. So of course they're going to try to reboot it in that, because the movies have just completely effed everything up, and so have the shows. Marvel have done a terrible job. So yeah. Thoughts on recast of Captain America and Iron Man after Secret Wars? I've only just heard of this. I don't know exactly how that's going to go, but we'll have to see. But I don't think anyone's going to care about rebooting, recasting them. What they should do is move on to the X-Men. Move on to the X-Men, and people will come and watch. That's what they should be doing. But instead, they're not moving on to the X-Men. It seems like they want to just go back to what worked. So let's do another Iron Man, and let's do another Captain America. It's so silly. It's so silly. Just do good with the newer characters that people want to see. X-Men is a big one. And if they did a good job with Fantastic Four... The director of Fantastic Four said that he cast his Fantastic Four actors, Matt Shackman, whatever his name was, and he says that he didn't even give them a chemistry read, which pretty much clearly shows why they don't seem to jive well as a group. Let's see, Electrify has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, bud, for that. He says, what are your worst movies of 2025 so far? That's a thinker. I've really got to think about that because I've not seen too many movies this year. I've been very selective over the films I've seen. I've not even seen Minecraft, which I'm sure is a movie that I probably wouldn't have liked. But yeah, I've not watched it, so I can't say. I can't give you an answer because I have to look at a list for something like this. I can't think of a bad movie I've seen. If I have seen one, I can't remember it because it's not good. I don't know. You guys drop some examples and maybe it'll come to me. Oh yeah, Snow White, of course. Snow White was not really a good one. Yeah, I'll put the How to Train Your Dragon movie there as well because I've seen that. I wasn't particularly fond of. Oh, take care, Fireboy. Thanks for joining the stream. Henry Danger. I've not seen that. Yeah. The dreaded chicken jockey scene. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's plenty of movies, I'm sure, but a lot of them I've not seen. But yeah, Snow White was a bad one, so thanks for reminding me of that one. What's a movie I like that the critics don't? Yeah, Captain America 4 was another one that wasn't good. Thanks for reminding me. I've not seen the Smurfs movie, Lucas, so I can't say about that one. Khan, I've already answered when you said what are my thoughts about Spider-Man being delayed. It was only delayed for a couple of weeks, wasn't it? 2 to 3 weeks or something? That's not too bad if it's a delay like that. The movie's been, we've had to wait for so long that waiting a couple extra weeks or months at this point will not bother me. The only thing that probably will bother me is if I have to wait another year or two. That'll probably bother me. Oof. Big Bass says, thoughts on Gal Gadot singing? Watch my Snow White Versus video and I talk all about her singing. The Lilo and Stitch movie. Yeah, how am I forgetting these? See, these movies are so bad, they're easy to forget. But yeah, Lilo and Stitch Dead Wolf is definitely on the list. Okay guys, I'm going to do 5 more minutes and then I'm going to end the stream early because it is 1:39 AM right now and I am really quite tired and I want to get editing done before I go to sleep. I'm working on the How to Train Your Dragon Versus video right now. I want to try to get some of that done. Electrify Ironheart is a TV show, so I don't think that counts. G-Gamer says, 3 worst list live action remakes in a row must be a new record. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, Lilo and Stitch, Snow White, and if I also do How to Train Your Dragon, wow, that is like... No wonder I feel quite exhausted, because I'm working on 2 back-to-back live-action remake versus videos. I will say, I am enjoying editing the footage for the How to Train Your Dragon versus video, because it is fun to, like, get... Because the movie has come out, and now I can go use footage from both on specific scenes, and I can really, like... take the footage of the animated version, then compare it with the exact same scene in the live action one, and editing those clips together is fun. So, definitely fun. Also, I don't know if you guys can tell, my studio lights are running out of charge, so I've got to charge them. Italian brain rot. No, Goats, I've not heard about that. Big Bash says, what cancel Clone Wars arc not being released saddens you the most, Eric? They all sadden me that they've not been released. Probably one of the biggest ones, though, is seeing Ventress and her arc come to a close. That would have been good, because Obi-Wan was in that story. Another one is Darth Maul escaping. Another one as well is Ahsoka meeting the Emperor under the remains of a Jedi temple, where there is a Sith temple underneath it, and she would have met the Emperor for the first time, and she would have fought him. That was going to happen. Yeah, that was all of the ones that were unreleased is so sad to me. It really is. I really wish we could have seen it. Time Shadow says, have you seen the new cast members for Harry Potter? A lot of the casting looks pretty good so far, to be honest. I have. Originally, I was going to talk about that in this stream, but then in the end, I thought I wouldn't. I thought let's just talk about Superman more, which I did. I think it looks good. But I said it's funny that that they're not going to be showing Snape, are they? Because they know people are not happy with that, but they don't care what people think. I think the show's going to suck. I think they've got writers that haven't even read the books. And I think they've also made changes to Snape. So now they're going to have to make changes to his bullies, Harry's dad and the Marauders, basically. They're gonna have to, Sirius and Lupin, they're gonna have to change something so it doesn't look as racist. But it's like, just don't make those changes to begin with. Just follow it to the book to the T. But yeah, they're really being dumb here, so I don't think it's gonna work out. I think people will get fed up with it early on, and then they just won't make any more. They'll probably make a season or two, maybe 3, but I don't think we'll get to the seasons we really want to see, which is 4, 5, 6, and 7. Big Bash says, Eric, did you watch all the Harry Potter movies when they came out? Yes, I did. The first one, I remember, then the second, then third, and then by the time we saw the third movie, that's when we started to get some of the books, and we got book 2, 3, and 4. I read book 3, my younger sister tried to read book 2, and my dad read book 4, and it was a lot of fun. Mortal Kombat versus video. G-Gamer will have to see what happens if I do that. Whether I do Mortal Kombat 2 versus Mortal Kombat Annihilation, or Mortal Kombat 1 versus Mortal Kombat 2 when the new one comes out, we'll have to see. Jess says, hey Eric, 2025 hasn't been a good year for movies because they lost their quality. Any thoughts? It's just a bad batch. I'd say we're going to get some good ones. We're going to get Avatar 3 at the end of the year, so we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll try to do my Avatar versus video again at that point. Try to get that going. NJ Kings, welcome to the live stream. You're saying Superman not being able to pass Man of Steel's box office is a huge failure. What are you talking about? Man of Steel is not even... Superman's only in its second week and already it's made $407 million at the box office. I think it's doing pretty good. Man of Steel capped out, was it at 600? Let me take a look. Man of Steel box office capped out at $670 million. Right now we're at 400 million, just over 400 million with Superman. It has a chance. I don't know if it will, but it has a chance. And also, Man of Steel, we'll just have to wait and see, but it's by far, it's not, I don't know why he's saying it's not beaten yet. It's not even finished yet. You gotta wait more. And then see what his total box office is. That's what matters. They do have book-accurate Dursleys, though, which is good, says Chris Thompson. Well, so did the original. Although Dudley was supposed to be so fat in the book, whereas in the movie they didn't get a kid that was so fat. But they seem to have gotten kids that are not as attractive. Because Harry, Ron, and Hermione were supposed to look more like nerds, like geeks. They were supposed to have features that kind of, the way they grew into their features. And right now it looks like they did cast actors that are not as good looking as the originals. They tried to get a bit more geeky looking children, but the Harry kid, they made his hair look a bit more boxy rather than curved, and I think he doesn't look as geeky when he's in the costume. I hope they do make him look a bit more dorky. Eric, yes, I did watch The Bad Batch, all of it. Loved the way it ended. I thought there was quite a bit of filler earlier on, but the final season ended nicely. Big Bash says, Eric, if you were forced to pick, what would you watch? Ben 10 Race Against Time or Cars? Race Against Time. It's a bad movie, but going in knowing it's a bad movie, I feel like I can get some kind of nostalgia from it now that many years have passed. So yeah. S. Little says, Man of Steel has way better CGI than Superman. I think they both have their issues with CGI. For example, you can see Superman, his CGI double looks very good in both films, but there comes a point where you can just tell they're using CGI doubles. And I do expect James Gunn Superman, which is so much, like, it's got so much years of technological advancement up its sleeve and on its side, and it still had like a fake looking CGI double at points. I think they could have done better at certain points with that, really. But hey, it looks fine in the end. It definitely looks better than a lot of the Marvel CGIs that we've been seeing. But I hope they can keep doing better and pushing the envelope. Like when Superman's flying, they actually recorded that whole, the opening scene with the ice and everything in the icy mountains, the shot where people are making fun of. they actually shot in a real location with the camera. Then they inserted him into the shot practically. So it was excellent what they did, I think. Billy says, just came home from watching the Smurfs. I feel like I should have gone and watched Superman for a second time. I'm so sorry to hear you had to go see the Smurfs, bud. Did you have to watch it with kids or something, or with a younger member of the family? That sounds painful, that does, bro. That really does. Eric, do you think John Lithgow is way too old to play Dumbledore? No, I think it's fantastic. Dumbledore is meant to be a very, very old man, so yeah. Alright, nothing in either is as good as things like Davy Jones. Khan says, so what are some upcoming projects that you're doing right now, Eric? Well, right now I'm working on 3 versus videos. How to Train Your Dragon Original versus How to Train Your Dragon Remake. Superman 1978 versus Man of Steel versus Superman 2025. And also, I'm working on another Superman versus video, which I've told the Discord members, but I've not told anyone else. So, if you want to know which one that is, head on over to Discord and join the Discord family, which you can do through the links in the Patreon from my Patreon in the description. And also, I'm going to be working on Fantastic Four versus video as well when the new Fantastic Four comes out. So I've got a lot of videos on the way, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And with that said, I think we're going to end it right there. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I know this is a shorter live stream, but I am not only getting quite tired, but like I said, I got to get some more editing done on the How to Train Your Dragon versus video before I go to sleep. So I want to try to get a head start on that. Thank you, Big Bash. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream. I'm glad all of you enjoyed and dropped by. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. My voice is going, if you cannot tell. I need to get myself some more water. But yeah, please do join my Discord server. Not only does it support the channel, but it also means I get to speak to you guys on the regular. And we can also do voice chats, and we can also like drop information about new movies, TV shows, and games, and all that kind of fun stuff. So please do join the Discord, and you can become part of the Discord family, so we can all chat and everything. So guys, it was an absolute pleasure. I love every single one of you. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for sharing them. More of you have been sharing them, which is really nice. And thank you for giving them thumbs ups and for commenting on them as well. I really do appreciate it. So thanks a ton, and I'll catch all of you very soon. Take care.